Hello?
Yo,
What's going on?
what's up, man? Ugh, how's things?
Oh, just fucking reading Twitter right now.
Why the? Are you reading all the influencers crying?
I'm just reading about this this crap about I guess Breedlove trying to make a comeback, and they're trying to cancel the memers who were doing awesome memes about how fucking stupid the guy was. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is the mentality of Bitcoin that just trips me out. This has nothing to do with fucking Bitcoin. This has to do with Breedlove, who had, created this persona and who was milking like so many people. I mean, even myself, like I think he's a nice guy. Like I've talked with him and I've met him, not met him in person, but like we've gone back and forth on DMs. And he's a really nice guy, but like he made a mistake, and like when you make mistakes, it's like I'm not gonna go jump on the grenade for you. I mean, it's not like I hate you or nothing, but like you made a mistake and you need to now like be an adult about it. And so when people started asking questions and this and that, we had this doubling, tripling down, all this stuff. That's when I don't understand it. I don't even fucking care, to be honest. But at the end of the day, this is the problem with Bitcoin. None of these people matter. I mean, Breedlove, what he put out there was great. He did some great content. There's a lot of people who do great content, but that's the problem with Bitcoin. There's a lot of people who feel like they need these like confidence crutches, so they find these like mentors or whatever you want to call them, thought leaders, I don't know, and they just put too much into them, and then one day the cracks start to show, and the whole fucking shit just comes tumbling down. So anyway, just seeing that this is still a thing, and like that, I know he's probably trying to make a comeback because I'm sure this hurt him financially, and to hear like that, like his buddy influencers are now trying to target the memers who were making fun of him, like that's just arrogance and stupid, and that's everything I fucking hate about Bitcoin in many ways. So anyway, sorry. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So the reason you're reading it is I don't know if you know, but he went on somebody's podcast yesterday or the day before, and it was. I mean, he went radio silent for a while, and I mean, I fuck around with a lot of the meme guys. Like I'm with the Moscow meme tards, and hanging out with the factory dudes all the time, and like everybody in all those group chats was like, "Yo, all he has to do, like, he's been silent for a while. All he has to do is come back and be like, yo, I fucked up.'
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, we keep moving on. And dude, he went on that fucking podcast yesterday, and I mean, oh, I didn't listen to it, but they were like breaking it down play by play in the group chats, and it was like, it was bad, dude. He compared himself to a priest like 20 minutes in, compared himself to Jesus at like 50 minutes in. Couldn't just say, I fucked up.
And this is the narcissistic, like egotistic, part of Bitcoin that I just don't understand. Like, you know, I used to be in action sports, and I used to be around a lot of professionals, surfers and skaters and stuff. And um, I don't know, man. Like you could always tell, like the pros that like believed their own hype and that they always thought they were the shit. And then there was always some guy that was so much better than them and had so much more like experience and just, I don't know, just respect among the community. And then the guy who's whining just could never understand, why he never got the respect. And it was just because, people don't like that. Like, it isn't about your ego. It isn't about your narcissistic fucking, perspective of yourself. Like, like, I mean, these people are lucky that they came into Bitcoin, and he should feel grateful that he built up whatever persona that he built up, and that people are actually willing to still have him on his podcast. But the fact that like these people think that they're so much better and bigger than they are is just so fucking laughable. And it's why you see such a a steep demise, and I think it's why for people like myself, I just have no sympathy for it. After, like you said, all the dude had to do was literally just say, you know what, like I totally misspoke, and you know what, like I admit that was totally dumb and I'm just going to try harder. And like, I would respect that, but I just have a hard time respecting the way he handled himself. And the saddest part is he's a really nice guy. Like, I think he has a big heart, and I think as a human, he's a good person. It's just unfortunately, I think a lot of people. There's Bitcoin, meaning like for guys like us, we're stacking and we're hodling, and that's what Bitcoin is for us. But for others, Bitcoin is an opportunity to reinvent themselves and to like create a career or a job out of it. And so, to me, that's okay as long as you don't get sketchy. And that's kind of what he did. Part of me thinks that he just saw an opportunity with shitcoins. Like, oh yeah, like the price is going to go up. I could make a lot of money in shitcoins, because he's watched a lot of people do it. And but all of us have been faced with that dilemma, and some of us have dabbled and some of us have made money. We learned our lesson, we got the fuck out. But like at this stage, when you're in a position where he's at, and of that type of like cloud, I guess you'd want to say, or influence, like to be like spewing that kind of stuff after you just sat down for like 100,000 hours with Michael Saylor and fucking Jeff Booth. Like, dude, if anything, if I was Michael Saylor and Jeff Booth, I'd be so fucking embarrassed. Like, I would be like, dude, fucking delete that content. I want nothing to do with you. But this is the circle jerk, dude. All these guys kind of protect each other and protect their own. So anyway, yeah, I it's a bummer. I like Breedlove, or I like the Breedlove that I knew. And at this point, I mean, I don't know what to think, quite honestly. And it's just laughable that this is even fucking a story.
It's just so, I don't know. It's so like fucking what I've found, right? My observation, and I haven't been in the fucking Bitcoin space very long at all. Right? I'll be the first one to admit it. I've been in the Bitcoin space probably a little over a year in a serious capacity. And I've found that category of people from that background, and yeah, I'm grouping people together. Fuck it, right? So the intellectual, big thinkers, PhD type, 9 out of 10 times that doesn't translate well into the Bitcoin world. Like they just can't. My experience is people like that can't come into something and humble themselves long enough to be like, wow, like this is something that I can sit down and like, I can't really wrap my mind around all of it. Like I understand parts of it and I can add to the community and I can contribute and that's great. But people like that like to be a complete expert on whatever they're talking about. And it's difficult to do that with Bitcoin.
Well, people like that are experts at everything. You know what I mean? Like if you met them and you were talking about irrigation in your yard, they probably have a fucking solution for you. You know what I mean? So, and you're right. Like Bitcoin attracts an intellectual crowd. And I think there's a lot of grifters who come into the space and they just see like, oh, I can learn the buzzwords, and you see it every day. So do I. You just see the same fucking regurgitated shit, just being spewed, and it's like, okay, that's great. Like, yeah, you're just getting a bunch of engagement, just repeating. But the biggest thing is like with Bitcoin, like my favorite transition is where we're at right now. Like when in 2017, like memes weren't. I mean, there was a lot of memes, but like there was no like meme crews, and like I think the fact that there are meme crews is awesome. And I think it's necessary, and I love how savage they are. I always tell people, don't fuck with the memers. Luckily, I'm friends with a lot of them, and some of them, like when some funny topic comes up, it's fun working with them. I'm sure you do the same thing. Oh, I got this idea here. Do it like this, and then you see a meme that you helped like give the idea for, get like 500 to 1,000 fucking likes, and you're just like, ha ha, and it's really just about the fun of it, and clowning, and just like, I don't know, like being sarcastic, and also being able to laugh at ourselves. And I think that's super important. And most important, like being able to laugh at the people who take this shit way too seriously, because, like I said, there's hodlers, and then there's, and hodlers and stackers, and then you have people who are literally here to develop content, and then to milk they just see it as an opportunity to fleece noobs, which is fine. You know, like if you're a noob and you decide to, I mean, I shouldn't say it's fine. Like everybody has the right to do what they're gonna do, but at least if you're gonna do it, like do it with like, I don't know, some integrity. And there are people who do it with integrity, and that's fine. What I don't like are people who push stupid fucking narratives. And unfortunately, with where we're at with COVID right now, and with where we're at with like, like Bitcoin, where we hit an all time high and we drop back, and you have shit coiners, and it's a really crazy dynamic right now. And it's almost hard to know who's who. It used to be if you own Bitcoin, you were a Bitcoiner. You know what I mean? You were all on the same team. But I think people are starting to wise up to the fact that we're not all on the same team. We're not. We're fucking not, dude. Like I don't care what anybody says. There's a lot of us that are, but there's a lot of us who don't give a fuck about any of us or anything that we're doing. All they want to do is make money, and fucking they don't care if they scam 100,000 people to make an extra buck. That's just who they are. And those are the kind of people that I do not like. Not to mention, I'm very against Bitcoiners who like, and that's the thing. Like this COVID thing, like it's it's kind of made people show their true colors. So like, I don't give a fuck if you're like a person who's just living your life and you have your vaccine and you're doing your mask thing or whatever. I don't care if that's what you want to do. I'm not going to ever clown you for that. It's not my job to do that. But if you're some motherfucker who's out there like, wagging your finger and lecturing people with fucking bogus stats and trying to like talk down to people, and then you're also a Bitcoiner, like I have a problem with that. It's like you are the biggest fucking status fucking asshole, like fraud in my opinion. Like you want sovereign money, and that's what you're claiming you're here for, but then you're not here for personal sovereignty or individual sovereignty. So I feel like we're seeing this dichotomy among Bitcoiners. And it's hard because some of these people are people that I really like, and then all of a sudden I see their status side come out, and I'm just like, fuck you, you know what I mean? And so yeah, it's like interesting seeing how, like, it's weird. A lot of the hardcore maxis are also just just people who are hardcore truthers. That's what I'll call it. We're just hardcore truthers. We care about the truth. That's what we fucking care about, is the truth. And it just amazes me that there's a lot of Bitcoiners in our ranks who don't seem to care about the truth. They just, they seem to support whatever the government's doing. I mean, they'll be all pro what the government's doing with the vaccine and masks, but then like you see like some regulation bullshit going on today, like in Congress, and they're like, oh, this is tyranny, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, make up your fucking mind, you moron. So anyway, I'm sorry. This is the stuff that just fucking annoys the hell out of me.
No, you're right. I mean, there's definitely, it's like with anything, right? With any subculture, because that's what Bitcoin is, right? Bitcoin's a subculture. So with any subculture, you have camps. And you have camps of people who think it means this, and you have a camp of people who think it means that, and you have, some people that may lean to more of like a purity, not even a purity, but like an extreme view of what it means to be a Bitcoin maximalist or to be a Bitcoiner. But, I've always felt in Bitcoin that there's fucking room for everybody as long as you're genuine about what you are and who you are. Like, if you want to come around and you want to be like, yo, Bitcoin only, and that's it, and, the hard line, and fuck the government in every aspect, and like, cool, but like, in this community, you better fucking, your actions better match your words. Like, your audio better match your video,
Right.
because we're gonna fucking crucify you if it doesn't. Like,
Well,
we don't really
yeah.
go and fuck with people who like openly admit that they're shitcoiners, or they shitcoin and Bitcoin. Like, they'll get it every now and again, but they don't get fucking mobbed. The people that get mobbed are the people that come around and they're like, oh, it's only like exactly what Breedlove did. Oh, it's Bitcoin only. Bitcoin's the only thing. It's the soundest thing in the world. Blah, 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 blah. It's the hardest money ever. All this great fucking philosophical word salad. And then you turn around and shill a shitcoin and then say, I didn't know, which to me was the biggest, not to bring it back there, but to bring it back there, the biggest bullshit in the world. You cannot come around and say, I have 2 or 3 PhDs or whatever your background is, and then say, I didn't know that it was a shitcoin project. Fucking come on, dude. Come on.
Dude, you know what? I watched that whole thing play out, and because I don't know, I like Breedlove. I felt like I had a relationship with him, not that kind of relationship, just a friendship with him, Um, and I mean, like I said, you know, he's a nice guy, and he knew what he was doing. I feel like it was very deliberate, and so I gave him a chance. And like while everybody was just piling on, I didn't pile on, and I didn't defend him, but I said I'm not going to pile on. I'm going to let him kind of, let this play out. I think that's what the words I used. Because I was in a little bit of denial myself. Like I was like, oh man, like this is really weird. Like there's got to be something to this. And then, as the weeks went by, we had the doubling and tripling down and quadrupling down, and it was just like, wow. You know what I mean? Just like that's all I could say is wow. Okay, so it is what it is. Like he did what he did, and you know it's great if he wants to go build his. What I don't understand is like I don't understand why he just doesn't own it, and he just doesn't own fucking shitcoins. Like if I mean that's where he's going. Like he literally, I don't know. There was somebody who posted a clip of him talking about that. That's what he was going to do. Like I don't know, a month or so before. And then he went and I don't even know what he did, quite honestly, but I assume that he's making money off all this stuff. I just assume, and I could be totally wrong, but I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are assuming right along with me, but like, I just don't understand why he just doesn't own it. Like the guy could literally make so much fucking money, like just, being the circus pony that he is for whoever will pay him. But I think it comes down more to the legality of that. I think that's probably why he's very careful about that, because if you notice, like a lot of these guys who shill shit coins, they end up getting sued down the line because they're getting paid to do so. So I don't know, but there's a lot of him. There are a lot of Breedloves in this game, and I think what happens is I've heard that he has a lot of money, but I don't necessarily agree, because I know a lot of people who have money, and like they don't necessarily, like that seemed like more of a desperate move to me, like a money grab to me, and he had to been paid pretty well to do it. And so I'm not saying that he doesn't have money, but I guess there's levels to how much money is a lot of money, I guess, is really what it all comes down to. And I don't think no one could pay me the amount of money that it would take to fry my reputation. And I'm not even I don't even try to be anybody special in this game. So I wouldn't do it. So it's really hard for me to fathom why a guy like that would, if they had a bunch of money or they had more money than they, needed. I just don't see why someone would just burn their reputation that way, and not fix it right away. Because if you really don't give a fuck, then you really don't give a fuck. But to me, he kind of gives a fuck, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of the like speculation around it was that when we were on our way up to all time high, I mean, nobody thought we were coming back down. And a lot of the speculation was that he was levied. And when price dumped, he got fucking wrecked being levied and had to do something to make money to either cover what he levied or whatever. Which that's like you just said. You went through all the stuff. Like that's the only thing that like makes sense to me, as crazy as it sounds.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it's also um, something we should probably talk about too. Is that's the other problem with Bitcoin is, and I love that people get super excited and super bullish, and I mean, people come up with some very like extravagant charts and like models and just game theory, and it's all very believable, and like but I've watched this play out like in multiple cycles. So like I always tell myself, people always call me bearish, and maybe I am bearish, maybe I'm just realistic. Like um you know it's cool to like get excited in these bullish times of Bitcoin, but what I cannot stand is when I just see people just saying, sell your house, take a loan, do all this stuff. And like there was a lot of people doing that, and he was part of that crew. And you notice how when we drop back, where did those people go?
Gone.
Yeah. And
Ghost.
and all those podcasters that were like pumping out like 2 or 3 podcasts a week, where'd they go? Yeah, because this is what happens. And like I felt it. Like I literally felt it. And I was doing a podcast. I wasn't even on a podcast. Sorry. I just logged into Bitcoin Kindergarten, and I think Dieter was talking, and it was at the very end, there was like an open discussion, and we were all talking, and I brought it up, and I was like, you know, like it's all great that like everybody's super bullish, but like be careful. I mean, like, you know, like the fact is a market at any time can fucking bite back at you. And, you know, when it does, there's no love in it, dude. And so you gotta be careful. And I hear people rationalize, oh, that's okay. Those sats, I'll be able to make money in 5 years. But like, yeah, that's fucking great. But let's be realistic. Like, let's be fucking realistic. So if you bought at 60,000, which I did, you know, and then you bought at 30,000, you've got to be a fucking idiot if you're not willing to say, man, I wish I would have just waited and bought at 30,000. But like, none of us are fucking perfect, you know, psychic tea leaf readers. And so you can't ever get in the market at the top. You can never accurately, you know, predict the top, and you can never accurately predict the bottom. But what you can do is be understanding and logical about how you go about things. Like DCAing is really good, but like I watched people who literally were selling their cars, you know, getting, you know, HLOC loans on their houses, and you know, and they're all like, oh, I'm good right now though, I'm good. And it's like, yeah, I know you're good, but like, that wasn't a smart move. You got to admit it. And the sad thing is most of them won't admit it. And the people who pushed them there, you know, those people are kind of like hiding in the reeds right now, waiting for the coast to be clear and waiting for it to go back to a bullish market to come back and be like, see, I was right, you bears. And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like that mentality on both sides kind of sucks. And like Breedlove, to circle back to that, yeah, he was part of that, and I think he did get wrecked. Maybe he had some from when he was, you know, I mean, I don't know. I just didn't hear much from him last cycle. Maybe he was around. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't. I'm not saying I'm like this standard of what is in and what is not in Bitcoin. Actually, I'm pretty clueless because I try to stay that way about like the Bitcoin scene. I try to just like let like the you know, I try to let the good signal lead me to it, and then let that lead me to other good stuff. I try not to just like fixate on one signal, if that makes sense. And so just watching this all play out, and watching this last cycle happen, it's just really interesting to me watching how like the narrative is it always evolves and changes, and we're watching actually new faces now starting to take on this next segment of this, whatever you want to call it, cycle that we're in. A lot of the biggest talkers are seeming to be silent, right? I mean, is it me, or maybe I'm not hearing them? But
no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
And why are they broke? I mean, and I don't know. Did they have to go back to work? Because I remember last cycle in 2017, like it was so out of control. And quite honestly, this bull market, this last one really sucked, man. Like some of the Bitcoin Twitter became to the point where I didn't even want to log in because of the stupid shit that I would just see. It was just people were just being crazy stupid. And so here we are. We're at this moment of, I don't know what you want to call it, where we're just kind of sitting here at whatever 41, 42, and which is awesome. And you know, we've got all this stuff hanging in the balance with regulations, which is interesting. And you know, it'll be interesting where we go from here. But you know, some of these reputations, what's sad is a lot of times people forget about, you know, where these people, what actually happened, and then all of a sudden they just like get back right at what they were doing. And it's sad to me when that happens, but for the most part, I do see like there's a smarter group of Bitcoiners who tends to see this shit and calls it out, which I think is good. So I don't know.
But
But
it's
yeah,
cancel culture, bro.
yeah,
Don't you know? They hate us for it.
yeah. It's cancel culture. But what's a bummer is these motherfuckers aren't getting canceled that should be canceled. You know what I
We're
mean? Like,
trying.
I know it's like Udi, for example. Like, I think he's a smart
Oh.
dude. He's been around in the game for a long time, but like, I don't know if he realizes the things he says and the things that he supports. I actually, people say, oh no, he's just trolling. I'm like, no, he isn't trolling. Actually, no, he actually believes that. And he
Was
has
this
some
by
good.
coincidence, or when you just signed in, did you see all the shit that went down with him?
I just happened to sign in and like it was in my feed, and
Okay, okay,
that's where
okay.
all this came
I
from.
didn't know if it was coincidence or if you noticed that he was white knighting today.
Oh no, I saw that. And he has me blocked, and which is fine. Like I probably would block. I don't block anybody. I wouldn't even block me. I would just ignore me. But because like I'm fucking nobody. But like it's interesting how these guys it's like there was this old crew of people and they all were really tight and they all knew each other, which is great. But like they kind of give each other a pass, or they all kind of defend each other over stupid stuff. And if you if you're not on their team, then you're just dumb. And I don't know. And I think these guys are having a tough time, that there is that Bitcoin has grown and there's a culture of new people in Bitcoin who just think they're dumb and think they're fucking idiots, and they don't like that. I mean, that's what this is, right? And they think because they have like a friend who runs a company, or they committed some code to something, I don't know, that they're fucking bigger than they are. And it's like, no, dude, like if you're a fucking donkey, you're a donkey. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I realize that, like, and I'm not naive in the sense that I don't care if people don't like me. I know people don't fucking like me, but I'm nobody and I don't fucking care. And you shouldn't care either. And neither should Udi. He should not give a fucking rat's ass if people don't like him. Like, but we're in Bitcoin. So for some of these people in this game, in this social fucking community, or whatever you want to fucking call it, like their social stature and their status and clout really, really matter to them. And that's where I'm like, whoa, okay, why is this person really here? Like, what are you here for? Are you here for your career and your reputation in your career? Or are you here to just like be a sovereign individual and speak your mind, and to like be like, look, I can say what I want to say. I don't give a fuck if you don't like what I have to say. I don't care if you don't agree with me. Fucking unfollow me and block me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking care. And I wish more people had that mentality on here. And I know there's a lot that do, and those tend to be the friends that I have. But you get all this litigation in these threads, people litigating, and a lot of times, like, the original thoughts get twisted and turned, and it gets so stupid. And at the end of the day, like all I see is Udi just like putting his foot in his mouth, trying to defend things that he shouldn't defend, and just he really should just shut the fuck up. But part of me thinks he does it on purpose, because I think these guys are really in tune with their engagement numbers. You know what I mean? Like their stats. I think they really focus on that, and I think that's what matters to them. So for him, today was a win, man. He's all up fucking. His notifications are lighting up, and his metrics are lighting up too. This is like the Peter McCormick playbook.
Not only that, too, you got to imagine. I mean, I would think that he gets probably just as much engagement by doing what he's doing today, because I'm sure, you have a handful of shitcoiners that are defending him. And then you have all the like leftist, statist, propaganda eating, claim to be Bitcoiners that are just eating that shit up. Like, oh my God, you're right. We shouldn't bully people. It's so wrong. Cancel culture, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, no. But you have to imagine if he's looking at something like metrics, or anybody is looking at something like metrics. Fucking Peter McCormick, like you just said, Peter McCormick fucking playbook, right? Peter had surgery. He was like 0 dark 30 is what I call it, right? Silent for a couple of weeks or whatever, and he comes back, and what does he do? Kicks the fucking hornet's nest, because he knows that it's going to get him engagement. He
Yeah,
knows.
yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Actually, I jokingly tweeted last week about that he was on some secret mission. Like he's doing some secret spook mission. And he's that's why we haven't heard from him. But yeah, that's really good insight right there. That's really good insight. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, man, that's what these guys do. And he's one that he is one of the most inauthentic individuals. Like, this just shows you how fucking stupid Bitcoin is when a guy who's as clueless as that can actually become like as big as he is in Bitcoin and like doing the things that he's doing. That's how fucking stupid it is, dude. Like, come on. Like, let's be realistic. If a guy like that can get to where he's at, then fucking the Bitcoin fucking community is fucking stupid. That's what
Yeah,
it's true. I don't
it
care.
is.
Fight me. Fight me. I will fight whoever, because quite honestly, the guy's a fucking moron. He has an agenda. And like everyone thinks he's just this great guy. No, he's not. Like, all he does is grift off of other people's stuff. All he has done is literally surrounded himself with smart people and basically kind of, what's the word, vampired off of their successes. And because he's the one who's their mouthpiece, like, they'll go and be like, oh yeah, like, what's his name, Jack, who I really like. Jack's a really smart young
Yeah.
gun who's doing amazing things. But I feel like he's a little naive about Peter. But they go back a long ways. Like, they go back when Peter was nobody. So I'm not going to ever get, shit on Jack for whatever, like, I know some people do, like, but I do think he's being naive, and Jack doesn't realize that he gives his credibility to Peter.
Oh yeah.
And to me, you can take that wherever you want to take it, but like, in a nutshell, that's what Peter has done with a lot of people. He just puts these like people around him that are really bright. And that's where this whole spook narrative came from. Like, I mean, like, to me, like, I don't want to say I don't think Peter's a spook. I don't think he is. I don't think he's smart enough to like work for the CIA or some government organization.
No
Could
fucking
he
way.
could he be passing information to intelligence? I mean, dude, that could totally happen. I mean, the guy has such an inside with so many people. He travels everywhere. He's funded like, I mean, he spends all his money traveling and getting inside of all these companies. So I mean, it's plausible, right? Like, I mean, if you were an intelligence agency and you wanted like a guy who could disarm a lot of people by buying them beers and fucking barbecue, I mean, that's what he does, right?
And you had to pick somebody, you're gonna pick the most spineless fuck that
Right.
has the most connections, and that's fucking Peter. Like, come on, the dude. There's no way. If I mean, I was all about everything that Bitcoin is outside of sound money long before I knew what Bitcoin was.
Right.
Being
Right.
sovereign, fuck the government. Always, always, as long as I can remember, it's how I was raised. I'm telling you right now, I've met plenty of people who are about that life, and I've met plenty of people who talk like they're about that life. And
Right.
if the fucking feds kicked Peter's door in and said, we're gonna fuck your life up or you're gonna tell us what we want to know, he's fucking telling them what they want to know. He's
Well,
not dying on any hill.
that's just the thing. And so like, this narrative gets really spun. Oh, Peter's a spook, and they all joke about it. But like, if you actually think about it, and like, this isn't a conspiracy theory. It is what it is. Like, I mean, the dude has an open door to all the devs. He's funding the devs. He's buying them all fucking drinks and barbecue. I mean, and he's having a lot of conversations with them. So you're gonna tell me he doesn't have like intelligence information? Um, how he's using that, I don't know. That's the speculation. We're just speculating what he's doing with it. But God, it's kind of hard for me to believe that a guy that will literally fucking do a sponsored post, because dude, that was a sponsored post when he posted up about his COVID vax. You know what I mean? It was like,
Oh my god,
I
come on.
mean, that was like a very professional photo. It was just like, he knew exactly what he was doing. And I don't know if you noticed, you made me think of this too, and what you were saying about how he came in and kicked the hornet's nest. I hadn't seen him, and then all of a sudden, someone sends me this post where he's like talking about how, it's of course it's a propaganda post. It's like some lady who, her uncle or her brother died, and he was an outdoors guy, and they had like a fucking like it looked like a Men's Health photo of the dude, outdoors, and how he died of COVID, and it was just like I know you and I know you've seen a lot of that. Like that's like the narrative that they're really pushing. Like I know like it's a fact because there's people on other platforms that are posting that they've been approached to post pro-vaccination stories and photos, and being paid to do
Nice.
so by the government. So I know this stuff is happening. So for me to assume that these stories are bullshit, like, I mean, you can call me whatever you want. I'm sure that's probably happened. I'm sure there's one or two or three or four or five of them. And I'm not saying people aren't getting sick, because like one of my best friends just got really sick, and so did his wife and his son. So I'm not saying like you're not getting sick from it, but I think that there's a lot of he's doing a lot of that shit, and there is a lot of that shit going on. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. The Pedro saga, I call him Pedro because I don't even like calling him Peter. The Pedro thing to me is really, to me, it's a black eye on Bitcoin, and it just shows you what a joke the Bitcoin community is. Like literally, like it is. If that's if this is your guy, fucking that's a joke.
And I think that's like, so a lot of people will look at, and this is strictly my opinion, right? But a lot of people will look at like the memers and they'll be like, oh, fuck these guys. They're trying to ruin all this stuff. They're trying to cancel people. All they're doing is ganging up and bullying people. It's like, no. We're trying to weed out the people that do not have your best interest at heart.
I don't see
Facts.
anything wrong with it. Like to me, like the only time and I never really see anything wrong with it. Sometimes I see people get attacked, but they handle themselves right, and it ends.
Yeah, it goes away.
It goes
Like if
away. Like,
if you don't take yourself seriously, then we just move on.
right.
It's like a grizzly attack. This is how I explain it to somebody. Like when a grizzly goes after you, you're not going to square up and try to box him. He's going to ruin you. Just
Right.
lay down and play dead. And meme tards. Our attention span's like 38 seconds. If you don't engage, we're on to something else.
Well, and the other thing too is like, I don't know, the memers are the ones, in my opinion, they kind of hold the whole pleb spirit, like of why we're here, like, you know, like just talking shit, having fun, calling out bad actors. Sometimes I'm like, holy shit, that's so savage. Like, like that's fucking savage. Like, oh my God. Oh, wow, wow, wow. But like at the end of the day, we're all adults. And like what happens on Twitter is like you can literally just like log out of your Twitter, and like it doesn't fucking matter. But for a lot of people, they can't handle that. They can't handle stepping away from their computer. Like they get into these like from I guess it's probably from my background in making games and on social networks and social gaming. So like I kind of understand a little bit about the sociology and the psychology of it. There's just certain people that just they get in a loop, and like it's like this feedback loop, and they keep going in a circle, and they can't step away from it. And to me, I think it's kind of funny when I see that happen. And to me, like I can get into it too, like where like some motherfucker will just keep talking shit, and I'll just keep talking shit back, and people probably are like, why is he talking shit back? Why don't you just ignore him? No, I'm doing it on fucking purpose, because like sometimes it's fun to tell someone to fuck off. Sometimes it's fun to tell, just to like literally like someone is just like spinning out, and they're just posting stupid stuff, and you're just like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I get a fucking satisfaction off of telling them to fuck off over and over and over again until they finally go away. And that isn't very often, but some people deserve that type of deliberate fucking tenacity from me. um, and I see that with memers too. So I never try to judge people when they are involved in that loop. But some people, they won't admit that they're in the loop. They won't admit that they're in that fucking feedback loop. And I don't know, some people just take it real personally, and they can't, like they just get super worked up, and like it just ruins their whole day. And like for me, and probably for you, like I can fucking log out of Twitter and come back in a couple days, and we'll do it again if I'm not having fun. It's an interesting. There's some people that care a little too much about their, I don't know, their their, I don't know, online persona or status. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm an this is the I've had this conversation with people, right? I'm an anonymous account on Twitter. What does that tell you? There is
Yeah.
not a fucking thing under the sun that I won't say. There just isn't. I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you, you're going to know exactly where I stand because, you know, in the real world, I'm a business owner, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm all these things, right? But like, having an anonymous account on Twitter gives me this opportunity to like open my mouth without like worrying about if I'm going to be able to put dinner on the table next week because I open my mouth. And that's just real and how it is for me.
Yeah,
But
that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
the sometimes I think you're right. Sometimes you just need to like fucking exit. You don't even have to get off Twitter completely. Just there's a mute button. Like I mute Dieter. Dieter is fucking muted. I'm Dieter's muted, and I left the taco group. It had to be done. There's just I was unable to separate my anger when when I don't even know if we would call it debating, but having a debate with him.
Oh, dude.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I see fucking red. There are very few people in this world that make me see red, but he makes me fucking
But you
see
know
red.
what? That's what he's trying to do. Like, I know him. I know him well. And so, like, he loves to get under people's skin. Like, he just does. And like, he knows he's getting under your skin and he's just laughing. And I'm not saying it's right because I would say 70% of the battles he gets in, I just put my hand to my forehead, close my eyes, and look towards the ground and shake my head. Say, Dieter. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've known Dieter for a long time, and I I'm not gonna stick up for him, but I will stick up for the fact that he is a good person and he does have a good heart, and that he is a legit Bitcoiner. Like he's got more coin than most people, and so his passion comes from that. But he has some fucking garbage takes too, and I see what he does. I see he takes things too far. He pisses people off, and I don't get involved in that shit. And he is muted and blocked by a lot of people that I'm not blocked by or not that I like. So
I have nothing
like
nothing negative to say most of the time about his takes on Bitcoin. That's fine. Me and him actually see relatively eye to eye on that.
right.
There's maybe like the base principles of what we believe Bitcoin will be in the future we don't agree on, but like the Bitcoin thing as a whole and fuck the government, maybe not even fuck the government. Me and him have gone at it about that, but you know we kind of agree on that. But outside of that, oof.
I bet my guess is if you met him, you would like him. He's a
Oh,
fucking
I
he's a
can't,
good dude.
pirate.
He
I
would
can't. I
you,
can't.
you I trust me. I guarantee you guys would get along. I
I'm
know you
telling
say
you.
that.
I already told him if I ever meet you in person, I'm gonna fucking slap you. This is that's what, and maybe we'll get along after that. But that's what it is. That's
Oh
what it
well,
is.
yeah, I can't fix that. But I mean, him and Bart go at it too. So
Me and Bart too. I'm blocked by Bart.
you're blocked by Bart. Like it's so weird. Like these are all my friends, man. Like who I consider my friends. You know, they're good people.
Bart blocked all the memers though. All of them.
Oh, that's right.
Literally
Yeah.
everybody is blocked. Yeah, the factory, everybody's blocked.
Wow. See, I love what you all do. I fucking honestly, it keeps Bitcoin Twitter fun. Like, you know, like to me, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it keeps it fun. And I think people take it way too seriously. And I also think this is the other psychology. Like me, like I made my money doing other things. So like Bitcoin is just, it's not like it's not my vehicle to Nirvana, you know? But it is a vehicle to a different Nirvana for me. But I don't have as much writing on it. I mean, I have a lot of writing on it, but I'm saying I don't have as much writing on it as some other people. And so a lot of times, like, I'll know like how much money they or how much Bitcoin they have. I don't know why. Probably shouldn't know, but I do. Uh, and uh, and so that also feeds into a lot of these conversations that we see on Twitter. You're seeing like the when we come from an all-time high and we drop as quickly as we did, like and people have lost millions of dollars and they've never had even $1 million. The psychological, you know, damage of that is fucking hard to swallow, and so that's kind of what I see in a lot of the stuff that's going on Bitcoin Twitter. I kind of can read between the lines, or and it's just, I'm not saying like I'm some fucking guy who just knows what's up. I'm just saying like that's my, when I start to speculate, that's what I see and that's what I personally speculate and that's my opinion. So I could be totally wrong, but like I don't think I'm wrong. Like I believe that this pullback really fucking hit people in the nuts. And so some of the behavior that we've seen is a direct result of that. Kind of like almost like the breed love stuff, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And
Everybody's
the AH stuff.
oh yeah,
Same
yeah.
deal.
Yeah, take me through that. Tell me about that. What's your take on age?
So I have to openly say, right, because I'm a very honest person when it comes to everything except my government identity. Um, I like the AH. AH is the probably one of the top 5 reasons that I'm like Bitcoin only, and I'm so like into Bitcoin. I hung around on Clubhouse a lot, listening to him and like P and a lot of them guys. Like that was what really like sunk the orange pill for me. That being said, the paranoid side of me reads into AH and says he comes from a background in mainstream media and he plays a part very well. I think a lot of what he does is acting. But he is definitely one of those people on this last bull run that was HELOC your house, sell your fucking car, sell everything, buy Bitcoin. You need to HELOC your house. You need to fucking sell your car. And then we dumped, and to me, it was a fucking pussy ass lame excuse. He like
Right.
he was like, oh, I had to take a break from Twitter because I was addicted to Twitter. No, you told everybody to HELOC their house and sell their fucking car, and then it dumped.
Yeah.
That's what you did. Like, just come on and be like, yo, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, it's simple. Don't be like, I needed a break from Twitter. And even now, like, you can tell his demeanor when he is on Twitter is not the demeanor of AH 5 months ago.
No,
Like,
dude.
he just doesn't have that demeanor.
You
He's
don't
so
have the
like
energy. I like
he's
him.
so.
I think he's a nice guy, and like,
I hear
you know,
great things. I hear Clancy told me he is one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet.
I think he is a nice guy. Like I've talked with him multiple times. I think his wife is nice. Like, um, you know, I think this last cycle, like, I mean, I knew him before. I knew him during, like, I've known him since 2017. So, I watched him like make a run. And I know that he probably would never own it, but I watched him make a run to actually be an influencer. Like he cleaned up everything, cleaned up the way he speaks, he cleaned up his knowledge base. Like he became very articulate, and I believe Clubhouse really helped that because in a way, if we were to compare to where he was last cycle, he was just like a memer. I mean, just a shit poster is what we would call a memer, a shit poster. And then this last cycle, I feel like he was like, all right, people are listening to me. I'm getting a following, and and you're right. He's super fucking articulate. He's charismatic. People like him. But yeah, the only part that I had issue with was the Moon Boy stuff. And he's very vain, and that's fine. I have a lot of friends who are vain, but like I'm not gonna trash him because I like him. Would I be like that? Nah. Was he humbled? Yeah, and that's the other part of this that I think I see too is while he was telling people to buy, he was buying. That
Oh yeah.
motherfucker was doubling, tripling down. Like he was putting his money where his mouth is. And unfortunately, we ended up where we ended up. But we'll be fine we'll be fine long term. But it's got to be tough. Especially he's got, a baby on the way. I know he was planning on moving, so I think a lot of people had big plans had big plans. And this is just the reality that happens with Bitcoin that I think people need to remember. And I'm not saying don't stack. I'm not saying, don't believe that things can, that we're not going to stay here forever, but I'm just saying like stack responsibly. And I think also too, I think he's just I think he got like crucified in many ways by people. Like a lot of people called that out, and you can't like you can't defend that. He can't defend. How do you defend yourself against people saying you bailed? You told us to buy. How do you defend yourself? You can't. So, I know.
I mean, I feel it. I mean, that
I
was
did too.
my big. I've been buying Bitcoin, right, and buying Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin, but like that was my 55K was my biggest. Like I bought more than I held at 55K. Like
Yeah.
I liquidated my wife's 401K, our savings account, everything went into Bitcoin. I kept a month of bills in my checking account and I went into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with it because I'm like, I still work every day.
Right.
So I can
Right.
understand these people that like don't and how that would like fuck you up. And I can honestly say that his approach of not being like when he does like pop up and like make a funny post and somebody's like I did it to him the last time he made a post. I was like, "Hey, you remember that dude that told you to HELOC your house at all time high and then had to take a break because he was addicted to Twitter?" And like 25 memers underneath me posted the grapes, the I remember grapes.
Yeah.
But he didn't like flip out. He just kind
No,
of
he
like took it
takes
on
it.
the chin and he was like,
He
eh.
does take it. I mean, I've it's kind of tough because like he beefs with Dieter, and I like them both. Like I think they're both the same idiots, and I think they're both good guys too. You know what I mean? Like I like them both, and I tell Dieter that, and I tell AH that. I like them both. Like they've both been around for a while, and like I'm not gonna fucking sit here and I don't know. I guess the way I look at it as the one thing I know about AH, he's a good sport, and I've seen him be a good sport. And I really do hope that Bitcoin turns around for him and his family. I hope Bitcoin turns around for you and your family and everyone else who is a little bit underwater right now. I mean, from experience, it always does. Even myself, I've been through 3 cycles now. The first one, I bought high, and then actually I didn't buy high. I bought like in the middle, and then it just fucking the bottom fell out. And so it took years to come back from that one. Then the second one I was smarter in. I didn't get as crazy in, but I still got kind of caught up in it. It was actually it was Pierre Rochard and what's his name, Parabolic Travis, who were like the Moon Boys from the last cycle. There's a few others too, but they were the ones that were just like hyper Bitcoinization, and I mean, I got fucking caught up in it, and luckily I didn't buy a ton, but I still was underwater a little bit from some that I bought. And then this last cycle, I did a lot better, but even still, and so I don't think any of us are we none of us are invincible to that, like, because it's greed. The conversation that I had with my one friend, and we've been in this for a long time together, and last cycle we both said, like, dude, like, I'm not gonna be greedy next time. Like, I have the price that I know I want to sell a little, and I'm gonna do it this time. And we both got to the price this time, and we both didn't sell, and then the bottom dropped back, and we just had the same conversation, and we said to each other, fuck, like, fuck, like, we were both angry at each other, not angry in a bad way, but like, you motherfuckers, like. And so that's the tough thing about Bitcoin and all the conjecture that surrounds it, in bull markets, is like, it really fucks with your head. And like, if I would have stuck to my like plan, man, I would have been a fucking genius, but I didn't. I got greedy. And I'll be fine. I mean, I'm sure in a few years, I'm going to say, or maybe by the end of the year, I'm going to say, fuck, you're a genius. But at the end of the day, like, I could have taken some profits and then I could have fucking bought back fucking Bitcoin for cheaper. So, you can look at it however you want. You can say whatever you want. I'll never sell my Bitcoin, which I don't recommend anyone selling Bitcoin. Because it is a pain in the ass, like from a tax perspective, from just like, you never know, like you could fucking time it wrong. And I've seen that happen multiple times. I've done it. I've timed it wrong and fucked myself. So that's why I don't like selling Bitcoin. Um, so, it's one of those things that you and I and everyone else, we can debate it and to the end of the day, but I just really believe in like being responsible to yourself and knowing and like having these like goals, like write them down and realize that like you should stick to them. Don't let greed fucking dictate to you, because your greedy side will make you make stupid fucking decisions. It does. I mean, I'll be a perfect example of. I'm a perfect example of someone who. I mean, you know, I I bought more when I probably should have sold. Now that I look back, but it's easy to play armchair quarterback or Monday quarterback, and hindsight is 2020. But like the main takeaway that I tell anyone in Bitcoin is like, you're in this alone. Like you're in this for fucking you. I don't care about the fucking community because those motherfuckers don't pay your bills. They don't give a shit about you. They may fucking like your fucking tweet, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like your Bitcoin is your Bitcoin and you sell it when you want to sell it and you buy it when you want to buy it. And don't let anyone affect that. And I know they will, but like at the end of the day, just remember, none of these fucking people are in your shoes. And at the end of the day, in 5 years, you won't even fucking know many of them. Maybe a couple of them. I know I will. A few of them because I've known some of them for 5 years now, so I could say that. But that's the big mistake I see people make. Is people get too caught up in like, what did Breedlove say? What did American Hodl say? So I just, you just gotta know. I mean, even from my experience and knowing that it's like this, I still fell for it. So it's a tough one, dude. Greed is a son of a bitch.
You got that right. I can definitely say that I'm grateful that I can't even say I got wrecked because I haven't sold anything, right? But like I took the hit that I took on Bitcoin now in my Bitcoin journey. Like just listening to what you just said, like it puts it in perspective for me, right? So to think about somebody like AH, and I'm not defending what he did, but to think of somebody like AH and be like, yo, if I had, and this is pure speculation, I don't know what he holds, but if I had a fucking $1 million or $10 million, and I just watched $10 million turn into $4 million or $3 million or whatever, but it's all in shit I don't want to sell, and I just did all this extra shit in the fiat world to buy more of this, this investment. That's a hell of a lot different than me fucking around with 10 or 20 grand.
Right.
Like my Monday, I wake up and the customers are still calling my phone, and I still go to work. My wife still wakes up, takes care of the kids. My wife still goes to work. Like I guess it's got to be a different dynamic when your life is tied, literally tied to this asset. Like
Right. Right.
that's got to be fucking deep. And it's a little scary to think about it like that because that's what I'm trying to do. Like that's a goal for me with my life. Like I'm trying to transition into mining at a bigger scale than I already mine. And hopefully, eventually, that will allow me financially to spend the most amount of time possible with my family, which is the fucking goal. I don't give a shit about money, give a shit about anything else. I care about time with my kids and time with my wife.
Right. Right.
Outside of that, the reality is, if you want to get like philosophical about it, at the end of the day, I've had many, many, many relatives die, and I've been many, many, many rooms where they took their last breaths. Right? I 6 years ago I got into recovery because I was a fucking junk box in my younger years, and I've been in rooms with people that died.
Mm-hmm.
And not a single person said, fuck, I wish I worked 10 more hours a week.
You're right. Yeah.
Shit, I wish I made more money. Like, nobody has ever said that. Everybody who's ever in that, especially like the older relatives and shit, have always been like, wow, like, I wish I spent more time. Like, who cares if I had that shiny car? Who cares if I went on vacation to somewhere tropical? I really wish I would have spent 5 extra hours a week with my kids.
Yeah.
Because you can't, I have a 10-year-old, right? And when my 10-year-old was little, I was in my early 20s. And I chased money so fucking hard, so hard. And I traveled all over the United States. I actually made a ton of fucking money off of the first housing crash. I worked as a subcontractor for the banks taking care of foreclosed houses.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And but during the course of that, being blinded by the money that I was making, I missed Halloween, I missed Christmas Eve, I missed birthdays, I missed Thanksgivings because it was more important to be in Kentucky for 3 weeks or be in Tennessee for 3 weeks or be in New Jersey for 3 weeks on the road for work because I wanted that money. I look back now and now I look at my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about money at all. Like, I live in a 900 square foot house on 5 acres. My house is absolutely nothing special. I joke with people all the time because my house is a 70s like mobile home that got turned into a house. But like, I couldn't be happier because on any given day, my bills don't run my life. On any given day, I can be like, it's 2 o'clock and I really want to go home and like play with my kids. And I'll go home and play with my fucking kids.
Right.
Because fuck that dollar. I look back at my 10-year-old's younger childhood, and when he was like 5, was like the peak of me making a lot of money. All of that money, not one time have I ever come across anywhere that was like, hey, for $10,000, you can buy back the first Halloween that you missed.
Right. 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 No, you're speaking. Yeah. Yeah. I relate in many ways. I relate in many ways. I did a startup, and I mean, it took over 15, 15 years of my life where I missed a lot, and I'm thankful that I had my daughter after all of it. But it going through that taught me a lot about a lot of the things that you're talking about. Like I just, and also too, I made a lot of money from the company that we sold, and like, you know, the one thing I learned too is, when you accumulate a lot of things, um, it just costs a lot of money to take care of those things and time. And just like what I did when I first sold our company is I bought a huge house, like, and it was gorgeous and I loved living there. And it was super cool, but it was a fucking job to take care of the thing. Like, it was very unique, and just like the materials that were used, they were very specialized. So you couldn't just have some regular person come in. I always had to have some specialized person, and they'd come and they'd look at, it was a fucking nightmare. It was like, I felt like a contractor, having to have subcontractors constantly at this place, constantly taking care of it, one thing or another. And I don't know. I also, then we had, when my wife got pregnant, we both just were like we don't want to bring our daughter up in this. Let's just like go move to the country and get a nice house, and go live that way. And so we've done that and haven't looked back. So to me, it's like there's something to be said for that. And I think a lot of people who are chasing money, thinking that money's going to give them whatever they need, I think what they're going to learn is that, um, whatever you make and whatever you're gonna, like, whatever your goal is, it's never going to be enough. And as soon as you reach that, you're going to set up another goal, and you're going to want more money, or you're going to want a bigger house, and you're going to want a more fancier car, because that's just human nature. And if you can learn to like hack yourself to not like be on that treadmill, because like, think about it, dude. And this is something, this is like a real, like, a topic that it's real dear to me, because it affected me so much. Like, coming from really not much, and then, you know, like doing a tech startup, and then, you know, selling that company and having a great exit, and like my life changed, and you know, a lot of opportunities in my life changed, and so it's just all of that. So like when I first started this game, or this journey, I should say, like I had this number in my mind, and what I learned is I'd match that number, and then it would be a new number, and then I'd get that number, and it'd be a new number, and it was just never enough. And you know, I just, like for you, like what's your number? Like how much money do you got to make before you're like, oh fuck it? It sounds like you're pretty close to it. You don't really give a shit. You're just like, I'm just living my life, which is smart. But everybody has a number. So what is your number?
I was raised. This is gonna sound funny, right? But I was raised by a man that retired in his, I don't know, early 60s, we'll say, late 50s. And he retired to a very sovereign individual life. Very simple. He lived in Maine on a couple acres, and he didn't have much, and he didn't need much, and that was how he lived. And he always beat it into me from a young age that retirement is not about getting to, like, it obviously is about getting to a number in particular, but that number is very dependent on what luxuries you can live without. Like, the reason he was able to retire, he lived 11 years in retirement before he passed away. A lot of people, especially today, don't get 11 years of retirement
No,
before
you're
they
right.
die.
You're absolutely right.
So he got that because he didn't have cable. He didn't have all these things that, like, we take for granted, that are actually like first world luxuries, that he lived without. Like, his electricity bill was like $13 a month because he had a fridge plugged in, and he went out and he walked in the woods and he went fishing, and he, like, this is what he did to entertain his time. He lived in a town with 40 fucking people in it. But the reason that he was able to live that life is because he didn't need enough money to have a cable bill and an internet bill and, a new car every 4 years, whatever everybody thinks they need to be happy. He, like, showed me how you can, like, just be happy, just really, like, make the most of the time that you have.
Right.
Like, take it and do something with it, experience something with it. Like, he took those last 10 years and he experienced life.
Right.
A
Yeah.
lot of people don't get to do that. A lot of people think that they need a certain number so that they can buy an experience at the end of life. Like, oh, I need to buy this such and such a house, such and such a place, or in such and such a retirement community, and I need to have spa days and Pilates days and this, whatever people want. I don't know. I'm kind of like a boomer, but whatever people, whatever people want in their retirement. But if you can, like, get to a point where you decide that you're going to, like, just enjoy the time, some people will find, like, I've heard crazy fucking numbers, dude, from people, especially in the Bitcoin space, where they're like, dude, you can't retire on $3 million. I'm like, if you gave me $3 million tomorrow, I would never work another fucking day. Never. Never. $3 million fucking dollars? You crazy? Do you know what I come from? Like, I come
Right.
from nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I've been homeless in my life. $3 million fucking dollars, dude. $3 million fucking dollars. I could live a very, very simple life, and I'm in my mid-30s, and I can live a very simple life for the rest of my days on $3 million fucking dollars.
Right.
So it's really about, like, where, could I buy a Lambo and have a condo in Miami and a condo in New York and be traveling all over the place and going to all the conventions and no. But I could definitely retire and live a very happy, full life.
Right. Well, I mean, what you're saying is it's very valid. Like for me, when I sold the company, just the stress alone. I mean, I had all kinds of weird health issues all of a sudden pop up, and like, and I never wanted to acknowledge of why, but it was stress, and I also realized that I gave up 15 years of my life while people were out partying and having fun, and having kids and all that kind of stuff. I was in an office slaving away, just grinding for a goal, and I'm not like upset with myself for doing that, but I got to a point where like I I looked at where I was and I was like, okay, I have this amount of money. I'll probably be good for the rest of my life. I looked at my two friends who we started the company with, and one of them, he's having health issues. My other friend's having health issues, relationship issues. And we're kind of train wrecks. They kept on going. And me, I had to stop. I like literally, well, part of it too was my wife was pregnant, and I made a deal with her that look, like I won't do another startup. Like let's make our baby like the startup. But I also realized too that like I'm not getting any younger, and these are my most healthy years, and like I want to go and enjoy the world. Like I want to go and live, like what you're talking about. I want to go live, and like I don't want to just wait till I'm like 65 and half falling apart and then go live. No, I want to go live while I'm kind of in my prime. You know what I mean? Like if I fucking if I get sick and die, and I'm gonna get sick and die, and I'm gonna get sick and bedridden and then die, like I'd rather have known that I went and lived my life with my daughter and experienced and had a lot of fun with her. That's kind of, to me, way more like appealing. And so that's kind of where I'm at personally. Like I think like what appeals to me are experiences. Quite honestly, I mean, don't get me wrong, money's great in the way that it'll set you up so that you can buy, food and accommodations or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I think it's great. I'm the kind of person, I can handle whatever. I can sleep. I can go from real basic, but I can also go real nice. And I like really nice, but I don't really need really nice. And there's a fine line of what you can afford and what will stress you out. So for me, what matters most is like trying to keep my stress levels, low. Like in other words, people always think, oh, if I buy this house or whatever, my life's going to be so good. Like I can take care of my family so much better. But what they don't realize is they buy the house, with the extra bedroom, and it's costs more, but they don't realize how much fucking stress that costs. That adds on to them, just the mental side of it, just like having to take care of it and all that shit. And yeah, it always works out, but it's the stress part. What value do you put on that stress that's in the pit of your stomach all the time? Like, so to me, like I kind of live my life like I know where my tolerance level is, and when I get above it, I can just feel it, and I'm like, all right, I need to make some changes. But like, I'm just thankful that I was able to realize that younger versus like realizing it being really old. Because when I first sold my company, and those checks hit your bank account, like the one thing I remember was like logging in and saying, "Holy fuck," but also feeling really empty. Like really? Like
Now
this is
what?
it? Like there's no fucking party, dude. There's no like bands showing up. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Now what? What's your purpose now? So to me, like purpose is super important. Like your mind, body, soul, meaning like working out, making sure you're intellectually staying sharp, making sure you're fueling yourself with better quality foods, because I just tend to perform better. And for me, like I can buy myself anything. I'm not like a Michael Saylor by any means, but I can buy myself anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. I can't buy myself private jet, or I mean, I could buy myself a Lambo, but like I know I wouldn't want it, because I just wouldn't want it. I'd look like a fucking douchebag driving
Put
it.
one clutch in it, you'll be
Yeah,
all done.
well, I mean, I've bought really nice cars before. I've done that before, and it's really fun. I had this really I bought this really fancy sports car, super dope fucking sports car, very rare, and dude, like I had the thing for 5 years, and I put 2,000 miles on it.
Jesus.
Yeah, and people would just thought I was fucking crazy. Like it would just sit in my garage, and it was fucking beautiful. It looked perfect, and I didn't even like to drive it because and I was just like, I don't know. I call that kind of poverty anxiety for coming from where I grew up, and like the way I grew up. But like, and that's why I don't buy myself that kind of shit, because I don't want to do that. And I've also bought myself a ton of shit and like motorcycles and shit. Where my old house was dope. I was butted up against this nature reserve, and in the nature reserve, way out in the back, that we built a motorcycle track and no one would mess with us. And so I literally built a specific garage that you could roll up the garage door and we would just fire them up and go take off. But like my friends didn't have money, so at first it was just me riding, and I was like, oh man, I want to go race my friends. So then I bought another motorcycle, and then I bought another motorcycle. So then I had like 5 motorcycles, and then we just get wasted and we'd go and fucking ride motorcycles and race. But the point that I'm making is it was really fun, and I spent stupid money on this shit. I had a skate bowl cemented into my house, so we would skate, and we had a bar, so we'd drink, and then we'd get wasted. We'd go ride motorcycles, and it was fucking badass, dude. And it's a cool story for me to sit here and tell you, and like, yeah, that's cool, and it was fucking cool, and it was awesome. Like, it was a great time. But guess what? The party ends, bro. Like, like I don't fucking see any of those friends anymore. Those motorcycles fucking literally we rode them till pretty much they were worthless. I think I sold them for like, pennies on the dollars. And the ones that I couldn't sell, I just gave away. And the I funded fun for me and my friends, but that's all I did. And then you start to question, like, why were those friends even there? Where it obviously wasn't because of me, because those friends aren't here now anymore. So that's also me. I've got to look inward and say, well, what was the fuck was wrong with you that you thought that was how you should live your life? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that come up when we have these money conversations. But what I have learned is you start to collect like expensive things. You have to take care of those expensive things. You also, time passes, and your wants change. And so I guess from I don't know, in the last 5 to 10 years, I've just realized what matters to me most are the things that matter to you most, and that's my family, spending time with my daughter, quality time with her, and really, when I say traveling, it's really about showing my daughter the world, and letting. And I really like eating good food, but I'm not stupid. I don't need to go eat like super expensive food that people tell me is good that tastes like shit. But you know what I mean? So for me, like it's like my life is simple, dude. Like if I can eat really healthy food, if I can enjoy the outdoors, and sights with my daughter, and I can have time with them, like those are the things that matter most to me, and that's how I literally spend my money, and that's how I like when I go and I'm gonna buy something, like that's what I think about, like why do I need this? Like, do I really fucking need this? And so the only thing that like I really enjoy spending my money on, is that or investing it. Bitcoin, because I feel like Bitcoin also is my future hedge, so that I can thank myself in 3 to 5 years and be like, thank you, that was so cool. Now we're gonna go continue this party. You know what I mean? Like so anyway, but yeah, I mean, not to get too philosophical, but I think like kind of like something you said about, I think a lot of Bitcoiners are very they're they're not realistic when it comes to like money and like the targets that they have. Like like a lot of them I can just tell like by the time they get to where they want to be, they're not going to be satisfied with it. They're going to need more, and because you always need more. But people don't realize is fucking money spends fucking quick, man.
Whew.
Like it fucking spends quick, and it's easy to blow money on stupid shit. So I don't know. I that's the one thing that I want to start. And I'm lazy too. I got to tell you, I've gotten more lazy because like as you know, Bitcoin's kind of a rabbit hole. We all come in, we're sovereign individuals, we all want to like we want to contribute, we want to like spread this message or whatever. And so like for me, I started writing, and I got involved with several blogs, and and I spent a lot of time on that, and it was fun, and it was a lot of fun, but I spent too much time on it. And so I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, okay, like if I'm going to spend time on it, I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm going to do. So like when Hodlnaut started, and Katia started Citadel 21, it's like I was like, hey guys, I want to get involved from day one. And so I've been involved with them, and I do an interview once every other month. That's my contribution to Bitcoin now. And I literally focus on interviewing regular people who are nobody special just to hear their stories. And I do it. Sometimes I say, why do I do it? But I know why I do it because people like tell me they love it. And it's like, I don't know. I like that they love it. And I'm not doing it because I'm fucking trying to be anybody special. Actually, that's not it at all. And then the other thing the side project, and when I say I'm lazy, that I really would want to work on is like, I'd love to do like a series on money and talking about these kind of topics that you and I are talking about what matters to you, like what matters to you most, like, you know what I mean, like is it your family, like, and what drives you most, like, is it, accolades, like, is it likes on Facebook or on Twitter? I mean, and I think it's different for everybody, and that's okay. What I think fascinated me most was, my pool guy was from Venezuela, and he basically was on refugee status here. He had to leave Venezuela, years ago. He was a teacher down there, and it was really sad to me because my parents are teachers and my brother's a teacher, and I'm like, here, this motherfucker was a teacher. He had a decent career down there, and now he's fucking cleaning pools. that's that's an
That
interesting
sucks.
story. Yeah, it's sad. Super smart guy, like the nicest guy, super smart, super motivated. And so I got to know him, and I got to know him. We had talks about money and things, but it he kind of helped me realize how much, like, what matters is, I mean, not that he helped me realize it, but in talking to him, I think it helped me realize it, that like family is what's most important. And I think people can bond on that, like he comes from nothing, and here he was coming to my house, and he obviously knew where I lived and saw how I lived, and I didn't treat him any different. We became very close friends. And what the saddest thing was, I remember one day I was like, hey man, I'm like, he was talking about having issues with a computer. I'm like, do you have a laptop? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you don't have a laptop? And he's like, no, I have one computer, and my wife uses it for school. My son uses it for school, so I don't have a lot of time with it. And I was like, oh man. And and I literally have a stack of laptops, like, in my freaking closet, that I collecting dust, just because I just because of my job, I bought a new laptop every year, and sometimes I needed one, sometimes I didn't. So I said, okay, next time you come to my house, I'm going to give you a laptop. And I grabbed one of the laptops, and I ordered a new SSD for it, and freaking loaded it all up. And I gave him that laptop. And then, like, he was so stoked. And then the best part about it was he started a fucking startup with it. He started a freaking, like, I forget what it was. I think it was like a phone case startup. He made his website, and I was just like fucking blown away. And it made me, like, I can't explain the feeling that I have, but it just made me realize, like, you know, like, and I got him into Bitcoin. So this whole process kind of just made me realize about priorities and what really matters in life, and it's made me want to write or do a series and ask people from various socioeconomic backgrounds the same questions and see what we all say. Because maybe the guy from Harvard, um, and I have friends that have graduated there, and I always say this: if you ever have a friend that graduated from Harvard, they won't ever let you forget that. They'll tell you, they'll remind you where they graduated and their degrees that they have. But no, I mean, I like contrasting his perspective on it with my other friend who's a doctor. He's a neurologist, and then, like, contrasting with my buddy who, I won't call him a pool guy anymore because he's an entrepreneur now. But all of us, we're all very similar in many ways, and I think it's interesting to understand what motivates people and what makes people tick when it comes to money, and at what point do you just say, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna work no more. I'm gonna focus 100% on my family. And so, to me, that's a very compelling question, and I'm interested to learn where people's heads are at.
And that what you just described is what Bitcoin is to me.
That
That's the opportunity that Bitcoin affords me.
right.
Like, I grew up in the town that I live in. The house that I bought used to be my grandfather's 10 years ago. It got sold out of the family, but Like both
That's cool.
sides of my family came to this country from the Azores,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and they've never left this town. Like
Interesting.
4 generations have never left this town. So I come from a place where you look around and you see people who are literally born here and buy a house here and die here.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
working in this, like you said, this hamster wheel.
Yeah, it is.
And like to come across this thing now in my life where I see this opportunity to like, hey, I'm relatively young. Like I can put some of my wealth, like the small amount of wealth that I have, I can funnel some of that wealth into this asset that in 5, 7, 10 years is going to put me in a position where I don't have to live and die the same story that the last 4 generations of my bloodline have.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful. That's super powerful. You know,
But go ahead.
I really, and I don't want to like, I don't want to send the wrong message in saying this, but if Bitcoin continues on the path that we're on and it does what it's supposed to do, um, it'll be very interesting to see the changes that it invokes in the world in a way. Like just like having a guy like you who's a sovereign minded guy, like to have like, you know, financial like fuck you money to do whatever you want to do to work on whatever you want to work on. Like now extrapolate that to like, you know, millions of people being able to not necessarily to get off of that hamster wheel or at least be able to focus 25% more of their attention on their kids, on their hobbies, on themselves. I mean, how does that look? What does the world look like? With
Society flourishes at a rate that it never has.
right, right. And I know Saferdine writes about this in the Bitcoin Standard, and I know, you know, freaking Breedlove talks about this, but like
I haven't read any of that or listened to any of
this
it.
isn't like, and that's what I'm saying. They don't get to own that narrative. Like they do not get to own that, like because they didn't make it up. Like I didn't. Like they're just the ones who who got more people thinking along those lines, and they didn't make me think along those lines. It's just I noticed that they have content based on that, and so yeah, I mean, if you think about it from a philosophical, actually, the person who really made me think about this was Jimmy Song. I don't know if you know who he is,
Yeah.
but you know, he's a sharp guy. He's you know a lot of these, and that's the other thing. A lot of the ideas that you see a lot of these motherfuckers putting out there and like acting like it's their own, it's not. It's like it's just recycled. It's just they're better act. They do a better acting job on it, is all I can say, or they do a better with their spin on it. And I'm not saying they don't believe it, and I'm not saying like they're acting like they're fake or frauds or whatever. I'm just saying like it's not their original thought, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe maybe they have their spin to it as original, but at the end of the day, a lot of us have thought about this. Like, you know, I've watched what Bitcoin has done in my life and with the holdings that I have. And, you know, I've seen what it's done in other people's lives. And I just think it's really interesting. But the other part that I think people forget about too is that people change when they get money, and it's usually not a good change. Some people change and they can handle the change, but a lot of people change for the worse, or they change for the worse, and then they have this humility that they reach. I don't know. Do you know the rapper Juice World or whatever his name is? That he died from taking pills or something. I was listening to a story about him, and he's a young kid. Tragic story. He came up in the Florida rap scene, and um, you know he found stardom, and his friend was talking about how deep the guy was, and how like he was just like he was like this philosopher who just always like was on like this different level of thinking, and you know like just and then he watched him go through this whole phase of trying to come up and then coming up, and then his ego getting the best of him, and the money getting to his head, and then him having full awareness that that's what happened, and then like trying to change himself for the better, and that whole process being in front of the whole world, and sending out so many mixed signals. And his whole point was that like the person that he was becoming, or the person that he was the transforming to be, was part of the process. And it was this like person who had lost that ego and who money had transformed him, but he had worked really hard on making himself into a better version of himself. And I know you hear that a lot, but like I heard that and I was like, wow, like that, I relate to that in a way. And it's sad the guy died. He died of, I think he was he made a stupid decision is what he did. He made a very stupid decision, and it ended up costing him his life. But to hear someone like that, and to hear that self-awareness, and to hear someone who built something, came up, was 100% himself, and then was kind of transformed by that thing, and kind of became someone that didn't recognize himself, but had the wherewithal to basically pull himself out of it and get back to being a better person than when he first started, but a better version of that first person. And I kind of feel like I relate to that in my journey, and I think we're going to see a lot of Bitcoiners go through that. But there's a lot of people who won't ever fucking be able to self-realize and ever become a better version of themselves. They'll just become some rich fucking maniacal asshole and do really fucked up shit because they have money. And when you have a lot of money, some people don't have the mental toughness to be able to fucking separate their vices from like doing what's right. And that's the only scary part about it.
You're absolutely right.
Sorry.
No, that's fucking dead on. That's exactly. I mean, I have a different view, and me and Dieter butt heads a lot on this particular topic because I don't necessarily come from nothing, but I've had time, like, you know, when I was like 24, I had a year where I made more money than I had ever made in my life. Made like over $100 grand, which where I come from was a lot of money. And, you know, by the time I was 27, I was fucking homeless. So I've seen both ends of that spectrum, and there's a perspective that you gain from seeing those things and experiencing those things in life that no matter how you try to articulate it, you can't explain it to somebody who just comes from a privileged place.
It's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Yes. So yeah, and that, you know, me and Dieter got into it on that because he has some of the most tasteless fucking posts, and I'm
gonna tell you straight up though, Dieter doesn't come from a lot, dude. Like, I mean, I know this. Like, I know his background. Like he's a self-made dude, and I'm not defending him. Don't take that wrong. But I'm going to, at least I know that about him, and that's one thing I respect about him is that like the dude, like, you know, he comes from a lot of hard work. And you know, his Twitter persona, he may put this or that off, but like, no, dude, he doesn't come from a privileged background. I know that for sure. Like if he comes from a privileged background, then I come from a privileged background, and I don't at all. You know, but I understand, dude, because on Twitter, like he'll just be out there talking about sitting at the pool all day, and you know.
No. It's not even that, and I would never dog on somebody for getting to a place of success in their life where they have the means to be able to do that.
Right.
Me and him got into it over like poor people shouldn't have kids.
Oh God. I always tell him, dude, you're gonna have a fucking kid one day, so shut the fuck up. Like
the poors, and I'm like, dude, I can't.
No, you just can't. You can't
stop.
Dude,
please
don't even go there. He's like, you can't even go there with him, because when he says that shit, or like some of his takes are just like, that's a fucking horrible take. He's always bashing on kids, and I literally tell him, I'm like, dude, like I probably wouldn't be bashing on kids if I was in your shoes, when I was, you know, in your position in life. But like, I'm going to tell you, I didn't want kids. Like, I didn't think I did. Like, I just figured that wasn't the life for me. And then all of a sudden it happens and it changes you. And all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost didn't have this opportunity. You know, actually what happened with me is I didn't think I could have kids. Well, I didn't want kids. And then I found out I didn't think I was told I couldn't have kids. But of course I'm an overachiever, and and we made it happen. But I mean, I didn't expect it to happen, and I think that's probably why it happened. But I've had that conversation with him, like, dude, it's gonna fucking happen to you, and it's gonna soften you, and you're gonna feel like an idiot for saying this shit. But yeah, dude, with Dieter though, you got to sometimes just realize, like, you just like you just can't even go there. It's not even worth your time.
Yeah, I'm outside getting air right now. In the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? If you had to like put it into context in your head, like me and him got into it and I'm outside having air. I had to like separate myself from
Right,
anywhere that he is because
dude,
it
he
got to the
pisses off
point,
a lot
dude,
of
where
people.
he would tweet shit and like I'd be like I couldn't help myself but go in and just blow up. I'm like,
Right.
just mute him. Just fucking mute him.
No,
And you
that's
don't
what
have
you
to
gotta
see it.
do. That's what I do. I do the same thing, dude. With any, and actually, I mute people and then I'll unmute them when there's a few that I don't, but like a lot of times I just don't feel like listening to you. Like some people just always have a fucking opinion. Like Mr. Hoddle, that dude always
Oh,
has a
fuck that
fucking
dude.
opinion. Like, like literally, like, and sometimes I agree with his opinion, but like because I was friend, like that's the other thing. When you're friends with Dieter, like you all of a sudden attract all these people who, like, I don't know, they just hate you because they hate Dieter. And I don't know, ever since, like, I don't know, I'll just straight up, like, Mr. Hoddle, I have no clue what that dude's deal is, but like I call him the fucking he's like the hall monitor of Bitcoin Twitter. Like for some reason, like he feels like he's he's like the one who will tell you like that what you're saying is okay or it's not okay. And it's like, dude, like, who the fuck are you? I don't give a fuck if you agree or don't agree with me. Like,
He's the
I,
king of the plebs. He's so important, don't you
dude,
know?
he is one of the most endeared plebs that there ever was. I mean,
He's
that
probably
guy,
blocked me and unblocked me 10 fucking
dude,
times.
he will not block me. And like I've had conversations with the guy. He's a nice guy. Like he really is. I just think that he's socially inept. I really do. And he's actually one of these people that I believe has been in Bitcoin for a very long time. He knows a lot of the key players, which is totally fine, and he has good relationships with them. And this new school group, it happened when like he always, like, I always consider myself 2017, but reality is I'm 2013, 2014. I just wasn't into it like I am now, but like I consider myself 2017, because that's like when I really got into like understanding the community. 2016, 2017 is when I started to really learn about that shit. And he was obviously, he was like the guy. A lot of people knew him and stuff, and so very, very impressed with he was very impressed with the things that he would say. He's very impressed with himself a lot, and and like if you spoke, and you said something stupid, he was one of the first ones to tell you, and then, which is fine, whatever. And so here we are now, and it's 2021, and like we've grown a lot, and people don't know who the fuck this guy is, nor do they care. And like, so the things that he's still focused on are so fucking, like, that don't even matter. Like, I mean, they matter to him, but like all he tries to do is just like flex. That's all I see it as a flex. It's like, dude, who cares? Like, just
Yeah.
fucking, just do your thing. Like, if you don't like something or someone, like, you don't have to like make a stand and try to like get a bunch of people to cancel people. Like, like memers don't even do that. They just fucking make funny memes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
Come
it's
on, we cancel people. That's what they tell us. We
I
joke
know.
about it, actually.
I mean, honestly, the people that, I mean, I wouldn't even consider it canceling. You're just shit posting. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Like,
Yeah.
shit posting is now canceling, I guess. But
Their
anyway,
reaction to the shit posting is what gets them feeling like they're canceled. I
well,
feel canceled and attacked because I didn't know how to just be like, oh, haha, very funny, those damn memers, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like, instead,
right,
you're like,
right,
fuck you guys, you're fucking communists, fuck you guys. Like, wrong thing to do. Wrong
right.
thing.
Yeah, dude. Some of these people, like I said, they're socially inept. They have no street smarts. That's the one thing about Bitcoiners. Like, I don't know, you seem like a pretty street smart, savvy guy. I consider myself to be pretty street smart and savvy when it comes to, like, I'm the kind of guy, like, it's interesting, and I was talking with a friend about this. Like, I'm not like I'm not like some badass guy or whatever. I don't like, but it's weird. Like, I'm the guy, like, if I roll up, like, someone's gonna fucking be like, "Hey, man, you want to smoke a joint?" I'm like, do I look like the guy who just smokes weed? I mean, I'll smoke a joint with you, but like I don't know how I look. I mean, I don't know what it is about me, or like I'm the kind of guy that, like, maybe it's just the way that I fucking walk, or maybe the look on my face. Like, people don't fuck with me, dude. Like, they don't ever talk shit about me not wearing a mask or whatever. Like,
I'm the same way, dude.
I just don't get it, dude. Like, maybe I don't know. and sometimes I want it. I'm like, bring it, motherfuckers.
My wife tells me it's because I always look like I'm angry. I don't know. I think it's a New England thing, right? Like, I grew up in New England, so she's like, you always look super angry. And I'm like 6'1", 220.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't fuck with you.
So people, you know what I mean? People usually look at me like, what the fuck is his problem? Like, I haven't worn a mask since the whole fucking pandemic thing started. Fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask.
Right.
Please come say something to me. I beg you.
Yeah, nobody ever says shit, right?
No, never. You just have that look on your face. Like, if you talk to me, I will rip your fucking spleen out and feed it to you.
Right. And if you want to film me, I'll give you some great fucking footage. Let's go. Let's do a viral clip, bitch.
Fuck yeah. If you want to record me, just make sure you tag me when you post it.
Right. Like, yeah, I don't know. You know, I don't know. You and I are very much alike in that aspect. And I think there's a lot of Bitcoiners who, you know, they're just fucking pussies. I mean, let's just be straight up about it.
Yeah.
Like, they're just all talk on, like, and they don't understand because they never grew up in either a community or like whatever they were into that held you accountable for your words. Like, I couldn't go and shoot my mouth off like I do and not be able to back it up. In other words, you know what I mean? Like there's just rules of the streets, rules of the playground, whatever you want to call them. Like, you know, if you're gonna run your mouth, you know. And I've talked to Dieter about this. I always tell him about this. I'm like, look, dude, you're these battles that you create on Twitter, like, people don't forget, and like it's like a drive-by. So you're doing your drive-by, but just realize there will be retaliation, and if you're not prepared for that, then don't do the drive-by. You know what I mean? Like,
that was what I told when we got into that argument about kids. Like, the very, very short version. When we got into that argument about kids, something transpired in the conversation, but he ended up saying something like, your wife and kids will be dead soon anyway, so they won't matter.
Oh God.
And I was like, that for me right there.
Yeah, that's
is the line.
That's the silver bullet, dude.
That is. So we can talk, we're cool, it's all great. But if I ever run into you in person,
yeah, I get it.
There's a line that you have crossed that I need to make you aware that you have crossed. And where I come from, the way I make you aware is by knocking you the fuck out.
Right. Yeah, I'm really into MMA, and it's interesting because, like, that's kind of the way I see it too. Like, there's fighters in the MMA who, like, they talk shit, you know, and it's like all an act. And then you have the fighters who are like, when I see you, I'm just gonna fucking slap you because, like, I don't fucking care. This isn't a game to me, and I will fuck you up. like you can talk all that want, you can do it all on social media, whatever, but you just need to realize, like, I'm built differently, and I will fuck you up. Now, I'm not saying I'm like that because I'm smarter. Like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm not looking to fight. I'm
the same way.
You know,
there's
but
some
like,
dude on Bitcoin Twitter that's like supposedly like a big kickboxer dude or something, or fucking jiu-jitsu guy or something, and I was like, dude, I'm like 30 fucking 2 years old. Like, if I see, just let's get something straight. If you catch me in like my state and I look at you and there's a part of me that thinks that you're gonna whoop my ass, I'm perfectly comfortable with shooting you in the kneecap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not at the age where I have anything to prove.
I'm the same way, dude. I'm the same way, man. Like, but the bottom line is there's people, like, there's different personality types. You have the personality type that is just a quiet guy, who like will never speak up for himself, never. But if he's online, though, he gonna really be like a fucking warrior, keyboard warrior. Then you have people who are, like you and me, who like we're just kind of. I'm not taking this shit too seriously, but like if you're gonna cross lines and I see you, like I will fucking I might slap you, but I will definitely call you a bitch to your face.
Oh yeah.
And then you have the third type of person who like literally they just don't fucking play. Like you fuck with them and like you're just fucking done. I'm not in that category. I wouldn't say I'm in that category, but there are people like that and they just never forget. And I don't know, like when those kind of people come up against you and a guy like you and me, that can get a little weird and dangerous at times too, because I know you're not going to back down and I know I'm not going to fucking back down.
No, those are
Like,
the guys you shoot.
well,
That's how I was
that is
brought up.
that is a great, yeah, exactly. But for the most part, like I don't usually get into that. I don't get into it at that level with certain people. I just mute them when they start to get my temperature up. I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. And
Yep.
maybe I'll just tell you how fucking stupid you are like 10 times. And then I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like that was just a waste of my fucking brain. But that's
Yeah,
kind of the way I look at this.
I got I got like 10 times you're stupid and then a couple scat memes. And you're
I,
muted and I'm out.
I like the scat memes, dude. That's one of my favorites, like the cat pooping in the fucking toilet bowl. Like, and I love the dude. Like before the memers were actually the memers. That's how like it was fucking what's his name, Canix, I think his name is. His old count was Canix, and then Bitclot, which was Kate or whatever, cat, and
Yes.
you know, and Pump It. Those
Mm-hmm.
dudes, those are like, in my opinion, those are like the original memers because like if someone like pissed me off, like and someone was just being a dickhead, I'd be like, yo, fucking Bitclot, yo, fucking Canix and Pump It, like need cat memes. And they would just start fucking littering the whole thread. I mean, just over and over. And like we're talking like this would go on for like 2 days. And that was, and then all of a sudden the evolution of memers kind of flowed in, and then now you just see what you see. You know what I mean? Like you just see it's constant fucking Bitcoin memes, which I love. It isn't always just cats shitting fucking or dogs shitting or fucking really gross shit that these guys find and post in a thread.
Yes.
Um,
I don't
but
know anything about that.
yeah, I mean, to me, and that's the other thing. Like, if we look at the evolution into the memes and how we got there, like, um, it's interesting all the meme stealing. Like, that's a really interesting thing to me. Like that these motherfuckers like literally were stealing, blatantly stealing memes from another person, saying they're theirs, and then like when the person was like, no, that was mine, they're like not owning it. That trips me out, dude. Like,
Oh, the better one is people like Bitcoin Chris. I don't know if you know who that is.
I probably do. I just don't know.
He was like a Clubhouse cat. He's a
Okay.
black dude.
Uh-huh.
That was on Clubhouse all the time, and he had like TA courses and budget courses and whatever. But he's like renowned for that in the meme community. He'll like steal people's memes and use them to market his classes.
Oh God.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting. All of us are blocked because of that. And
Well, I
then
mean,
every once in a while, somebody will send us a screenshot, and it's like, "Yep, there it is. He grabbed another meme, and he's selling a fucking TA class, or he's selling a fucking like, dude, come on."
that's crazy. Like that's this is what trips me out. And now we have like I feel like now we're gonna see, because now that times are tough or times are tougher, we're gonna see a lot of this new 2020-21 class. I've already seen it start to happen, but we're gonna see more people coming out of the woodwork, putting out their shingle for their newsletter or their podcast or whatever.
And that, dude, the roughest part, and this is like the last thing I want to say because then my wife's gonna murder me if I don't get to bed.
No worries.
That's like so when I started this podcast for like what you were talking about, right? I wanted to do not even interviews. I want to have conversations with like normal plebs.
Right.
And just like people like that you, and mostly anon, I think all anon accounts to this point. Like you see this anon account and you see like the memes they make or you see the posts they make, but you don't like know who that person is, like what their background is or what they think. So I try to get those people on and like talk to those people to like put a person, to almost like allow people to be like, yo, this is a fucking joke. Like, listen to this dude. He isn't the persona that he plays on Twitter.
I love it.
So when I first started doing this, I was like, yo, I'm never going to take a fucking sponsorship. I'm never going to, none of that shit. Right. And I put a lightning fountain in every episode on YouTube, and I give away like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 sats. So people will download a lightning wallet and, to try to help do my contribution back to the community.
Right,
Right.
right.
And I thought it was cool because lightning fountains came about through like Ellen bits and shit. But anyway, so I
Yeah,
did all of that, and like people, I was like, "Yo, I'm never gonna take a fucking sponsorship on." And then it was so funny because somebody reached out to me and they're like, "Yo, I know you said you'd never take on sponsorships, but like I do some writing for CoinBeast, and CoinBeast wants to know if like they can sponsor your podcast." And I'm like, so like I've been, for like a couple of weeks, I've been at this place where I'm like, do I do it? Do I not do it?
I'd say just do it. Fuck it, man. I don't know. Like, part of me, I don't know. I have this mentality of like people who are doing things, uh, with their heart and like, with the right ethos. I don't have a fucking problem if people want to make some money. Like, I don't care. Like I don't expect, like, for example, Hodl Not ran into this. Like when we first did Citadel, you know, it was just self funded, and it was tough. I mean, he was just grinding out a magazine, him and Katia, all by himself. No job, just self funded, and you know, it takes effort. And then finally, he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start. What do you think if we sell copies and this and that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's great." Just I think what it all comes down to is like who you are and who you end up being. If you're gonna, if like obviously that has worked out really good, but like if you're going to be a Dan Held or or someone like that who's like shilling whatever someone will pay you to shill, that's a little different, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah,
so and I know Dieter has these weird standards of, I don't know, he's got a weird standard of, even people who sell t-shirts shouldn't be selling t-shirts,
you're just
and
here to milk the scene, bro.
I just tell him all the time. I'm like, I don't know, man. That's a little black and white for me. Quite honestly, like if you're putting out good stuff and people are willing to give you some coin and you're not being a fucking whore, then who cares? Take it. Like, I mean, fucking Bitcoin Becca, man. She's gonna be doing a fucking what is it called? What does she call it? Her goddess newsletter or whatever, like sexy newsletter. I mean, good for her. Fucking A. Like, I mean, I'm I think the girl's funny. I mean, she posts photos of when she was stuck in a cubicle, and she'd post photos of her now just fucking based and fucking smoking weed and working out and being a happier person. So I don't have a fucking problem with that. Like, that is evolution to a good place. You know, do I think she should be being the sexy the sexy Bitcoin goddess? I mean, who am I to say, man? Good for her. If it was my daughter, I would probably tell her not to. But like, I mean, she's her own person, and I think it's great. We need more women doing whatever the fuck they want and telling people to fuck off too. I like based women, and so I don't know, dude. Like, and I joke when I say it, but I mean it too. Like when I said you're starting to see a lot of the people from the 2020 class of 2020 and 2021 coming out and developing content. And some of these people are going to be like Marty Bent was part of the 2017, like crew. That's how Marty and Matt came up. So I wonder who's going to come up this time. I mean, look at Dylan LeClaire, whatever his name is. I mean, that guy is a nobody. And I mean, he's fucking all over the place with posting all kinds of good shit. I don't agree with everything that everyone posts, but like when I see people working hard, or like even a person like yourself that's like doing something, like, I mean, dude, it's Friday night. Like, I know you're fucking not making money off this. Like, I'm not doing this because I think I'm anyone fucking special. I just was like, all right, like, sure, let's do this. I respect it. I respect anyone doing this stuff because I write too, dude, and like I have to go and source my interviewees and and work with them to get an interview out. Why do I do that? I don't know. I just do it. I think it's cool. It's fun. Do I get paid to do it? Hell no. if someone offered me some extra Bitcoin, I'm not going to say no. So back to your situation, like I have nothing but respect for you. And if someone's going to fucking give you some Bitcoin to fucking do what you're doing, fucking by all means do it. If someone's going to give Bitcoin Becca money so she can read the sexy Bitcoin news, then fucking hey, good for her. She'll be smoking a blunt while she does it. But you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it just ain't garbage, like some like Tone Vase who like literally tries to tell people like that his TA fucking class can teach them how to be fucking whatever. I mean, even that, like, I think that's fucking borderline, but like I'm not even gonna shit on him. I mean, if someone wants to spend their fucking money on that, then go for it.
Natural selection.
It's natural selection, dude. Yeah, dude. But I really enjoyed this conversation. I mean, we had no fucking agenda. We just freestyled. So yeah, I hope I didn't fucking just talk a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, bro, that's what it's all about. That's what I've had many people tell me that's what they want.
Yeah, people said they like your podcast because you don't edit it, and like literally like not one edit. Like you just like you let it go, you let it roll, and I was like, And so, and then you're like, want to do it with me? I was like, I like that, but I better be careful what I say.
Well, bro, I appreciate you coming on.
Right
My wife
on,
just
man.
let me know that she wants to murder me.
All right.
So I'm gonna go take care of that.
You have a good night, buddy.
Yeah, you too, bro.
Later.
Later.